In this screencast, I'm going to set up an array of strings to record the colors of the rocks that blink as built in this world. Just to show you what's going on, when I click on Run, the program asks me what level I'd like to start at. I say 2. And so then the program has the different rocks blink in sort of a random pattern. What we want to do is record that pattern so we can match it against user input when they try and match the pattern. It's based on the game Simon. So, to set up the array, I make the array a property of the scene. So I click on Scene. I add a scene property. It's going to be of type text string. I'm just going to call it color array. I'm going to check it as an array. In the initializer, I'm now going to build the array. Now I'm going to start off the list as just being empty. There's not going to be any values stored in the array. And I'm going to make it a specific size. Like all Java arrays, you have to predefine the size of it from the beginning. And you cannot modify the size of the array during runtime. So I'm just going to add custom text string, click OK, and I'm going to continue to do this. And I'm just entering these null characters into the array. And I'll create 10 of these. So I have an array of 10 empty strings that I'm going to store the colors in as the time goes on. Now, because I don't know how many strings I'm actually going to enter, it's going to vary from execution time to execution time. I'm also going to need to create a variable to keep track of the actual number of elements in the array. So that's going to be a whole number. And it starts off with an initial size of 0. So I have my array of empty strings, and I have the size of the actual elements in my array, which at this point is of size 0. So now I go back to my first method, and what I want to do is I want to, every time, for example, this condition is true, I want to add the word green to the array. If this condition is true, I want to add the word red. If this condition is true, I want to add the word blue. If this condition is true, I want to add the word yellow. So I'm going to create an assignment statement in which I find the color array, which I'm going to assign to a specific location in the array. And so what I'm going to, I'll just start off by assigning a placeholder value. So at index position 0, I really don't want it to be position 0. I want it to be at the current array size. And I don't want it to be hello. I want it to be the custom text string, in this case, green. Now, there's a condition I have to guard against. I have to guard against going out of bounds on the array. I'm limited to the size of 10. And so I need to put in an if statement to sort of guard this assignment, so that if I have to do a whole number comparison, as long as my array size is less than, I'm going to have to put in a placeholder here. If my array size is less than the length of the array, If this is true, then I can go ahead and assign the value. The other thing I need to do then is increment the size of the array size, because I now have placed an element in it. So again, I'm going to create an assignment statement, drag it in there, and I'm manipulating array size. So I'll put in a placeholder value, but then I'm going to do math on it, in which I'm going to add to array size a count of 1. So if this condition is true, the boulder 2 is going to blink. I'm going to check to see if I have room in the array to add the word green to the array, and then I'm going to increase the size of array by 1. Since that is true, what I can do now is then just copy this all into my succeeding conditional statements, my succeeding tests. I will disable this, or I could delete it, but I'll just disable it. And an easy way to copy in Alice 3 on the Mac or on the PC. On the PC, I believe you hold down the Control key and you can click and drag. On the Mac, you hold down the Option key, click and drag. So that now this condition is true. I'm going to change the green to red in this case. If this condition is true, again, drag this down. Now this is blue, so I'm going to change the red to blue. And finally, copy this down once more. And I'm going to change the blue to yellow. And then just disable these assignment statements. All right, so again, I'm using the while loop that I showed you before. If this condition is true, blink the green, create the green blink, and do and then check my array, set the word in it, and increment the size. If at any point I go out of bounds, of course, the word will not get added to the list. Now what I want to do is I want to print, I want to display what happens. I want to print out the list. I'm going to have the soccer ball do that. You might think at first to do the count loop or the for each in loop, which would loop through and then just print each word. But remember, our array is of indeterminate size. There's a chance that we have just empty elements there as well, which may be okay for this point. But let's go on and let's use a while loop to actually just traverse over compare our whole numbers less than. But what do I compare it against? I need another variable. So I'm going to create one more scene variable as my loop control variable. That's essentially what I'm creating. It again is going to be a whole number. I'll call it array count or array index or something like that with an initial value of 0. Click OK. Go back to my first method. And now I can build the test. While my current array count is less than my current array size, I can have the soccer ball say color, and then I'm going to concatenate color plus something, plus what is in. So the soccer ball is going to say the color and then the element at position array count inside the array. All right, so it should display the word, and then I have to remember to increment the count. So I would say array count gets a placeholder value, select math, and it's going to be array count plus 1. So that should increment it, which should then allow everything to work the way we want it to. Click on run. Let's do level 5. Green, 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 color red, green, 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 green. Okay. So hopefully this answers your questions.